Hello, everybody. I switched filming locations. I'm not in my room. I'm in the kitchen. That thing right there is actually like in the living room, so I'm kind of like right on the edge between the two. Um, I just realized that I've never filmed a few reviews of some shows that I finished watching a while back. So I'm going to go ahead and do a review of the Ranma One Half anime. I want to preface this by saying that it's been a very, very long time since I've read the manga for Ranma One Half. And I also didn't watch the two movies, and I think it's the OVA series because those were not on Hulu. That is where I watched it in Japanese. You have the option to watch both Japanese and English. Confession, I'm not a fan of the English dub of Ranma other than a few voice actors that they've used. For example, Richard Ian Cox, who was the male Ranma from like season 4 to 7. He also happens to be the English voice actor of Inuyasha. I liked the idea of having like Inuyasha and Ranma be the same voice, male Ranma, excuse me, like it is in Japanese. I thought that was really fun because it's like that tongue-in-cheek thing that Rumiko Takahashi and the animation studios had done. Because if you look at human Inuyasha when he like turns into a human during the full moon, he looks a lot like Ranma, and that was like the joke. And so they ended up. I don't know if that's why they hired. Oh gosh, what is the actor's name? Who's Ranma and Inuyasha in Japanese? I think. Oh shoot, I'm not gonna remember this. Okay, I apologize. I do remember the English voice actors' names because I think it's because I watched it more in English than I have in Japanese for both Inuyasha and Ranma, although I do prefer the Japanese version for Ranma because I felt like a lot of the voices didn't work, or at least I think like the first male Ranma, who was voiced by a woman named Sarah Strange, which is weird to say because my name is Sarah too. I didn't like her voice as male Ranma, and I didn't understand why they chose a woman to do it because I actually felt Richard worked better. Anyways, I don't know. Anyways, I watched it in Japanese. Enough said. I do want to mention there was like an anniversary special that had all the three major works of Rumiko Takahashi. It had Inuyasha, Ranma, and it also had Urusei Yatsura. It was like a really short little cartoon. It had Ataru and Lam and Kagome, Inuyasha, and then Ranma, both as his male form and female form. They're, I don't know how we would do that. Well, Ranma does identify as male, so I guess we would call him he still, yeah? Even though he also turns into a woman, which is the premise of this show. But that's pretty much the story, by the way, of Ranma. Ranma's a teenage boy who went to China with his father on a martial arts training journey, I guess you would say, expedition. And they go to a place called Jusenkyo, and each of them fall into this water, and the water is cursed. So Ranma falls into the pond of the drowned young girl who tragically drowned, 2,000 years ago or something like that. And Ranma's father falls into the drowned panda pond. And that kind of begins the story of Ranma One Half, because they have to go back to Japan because Ranma has been promised to marry one of his father's friend's daughters, Tendo. They call it, so the fathers do refer to them, Ranma's dad calls his friend Tendo, and then Tendo calls his friend Satome, which is their last names. You very rarely hear their first names for the dads, which I think isn't very odd because it is more traditional to refer to people by their last names in Japanese. I don't know if they kept that in the English dub. From what I remember, it's been a while since I've watched it in English. I did try to like watch a couple of clips just to get a gauge of the voices, to see if I still didn't like it. But I didn't hear them say Tendo or Saotome for the dads when they talk to each other. But again, when they translate it to English, they often kind of lose some of those Japanese like language. No, not language. Just the customs and the traditions and the things that are very important. Yeah. Anyways, so they go back to Japan, and that's kind of like the big story is the relationship between Ranma and the youngest daughter, Akane, and then kind of the journey for Ranma to try and cure himself of his curse. And then there's other characters that come in, like Shampoo, who is in Chinese Amazon, and Moose, who grew up in the village too. He is in love with Shampoo. Shampoo's in love with Ranma. Shampoo doesn't want anything to do with Moose, but they're both cursed as well. Shampoo will turn into a cat, and Moose turns into a duck. There's also a classmate of Ranma's from before he even left to go to China, and that is Ryoga, who is in love with Akane, but he turns into a pig because they all followed Ranma to Jisenkyo. And they ended up falling into each of the ponds. So there was a pond of a drowned cat and a pond of a drowned duck and a pond of a drowned little piggy. And Ryoga becomes Akane's pet pig, Pichan. But she never knows that he's the same. Everyone else does, but she doesn't. And that was like always a big thing for me, was I really wished Akane figured out that Pichan and Ryoga were the same. Just because I felt a little uncomfortable watching him like snuggle with her in bed, knowing he's like deceiving her like that. But that's just me. I know that was like the thing in the 80s. Like, this, a lot of people say Ranma's outdated. I still really like Ranma. It's one of my favorites. It's my second favorite of her works. My favorite is Mizou Koku, which I feel like is her best work. I don't know if I'll still feel this way when I finish rereading it, because I do still think Ranma like holds up. My frustration though with the anime was they never finished the storyline from the manga. I guess the studio, I think, closed or something. Like it got shut down. It must have went bankrupt or something like that. I'm not sure what entirely happened, why they never finished animating the Ranma manga. I would love for them to like Sailor Moon Crystal, Ranma type of thing, and bring it back where we get a completion of the storyline, maybe like just following the manga more. I think Ranma did do that originally though, and if that's the case, I need to reread the manga. That's on my to-do list. I just have to purchase it because there's no other way to get it. And I don't mind purchasing it. It is one of my favorites. I've been trying to get the DVDs, even though like it is on Hulu, like I said. I would like to have the DVDs just in case it ends up being taken off Hulu. I have 2 so far. The first season and then the OVA and the movies, which I found after finishing Ranma. So I might have to do like another video on that. I'm not sure if those episodes cover what's left of the storyline from the manga. I don't think I've ever watched the OVAs, to be honest. Yeah. So what do I think of the overall story of Ranma? I really like it. I wish that my only complaint is the relationship between Ranma and Akane. I would have loved to have seen more development there, I don't know if that's like it, they changed it from, adapting it from the manga into the anime, and the manga was more developed. I'm sure it was, because that seems to be the case with Inuyasha as well, like with the Inuyasha and Kagome relationship in that series, because I've been rewatching that too, in preparation for actually getting to watch Yashahime. I would also really like to see Ranma and Akane get married, like, because that was what happened at the end of the manga, if I remember correctly, was they just promised each other they marry someday. And I understand that they're still in high school, like, and that's kind of like the thing is they're in high school and they're being told by their parents, their dads, they have to get married. And so, obviously, for a while, both of them, they didn't like each other. They didn't want to go through with it. And throughout the course of the series, both Ranma and Akane learn to, they do learn to like each other, and they also start to develop feelings for each other. Like there's moments where you realize that Ranma might actually love Akane, and Akane might actually love Ranma. And there are a couple of gaggy things, like there was like the Sakura mochi, and if he eats it and little marks appear on his face, that means that he's Akane's true love. And that seemed to be really important to her, because she really, really wanted Ranma to have the marks. So, like, you can tell there's little things like that throughout the series that show that both Ranma and Akane do love each other. Like, they want to be together, but they're also still at that age where, like, they don't want to be in, like, that serious, committed relationship, because they, like, Ranma especially, like, he's very, like, gosh, like, his emotional, like, emotions for Ranma, what I'm trying to say is, like, he struggles with them. And I don't know if that's just because of how he was raised. I mean, think about it, like, he was constantly going from place to place to place because of his father. He never had a mother around because his dad decided that Ranma needed to be the manliest of men. And that was I think that was the very last episode of the series in the anime, was getting to meet Ranma's mother for the first time. I thought that was really sad that they chose that, because I believe in the manga she eventually does find out what happened to Ranma and accepts it and decides that she's not going to hold her promise that she made to her husband Gemma. That's his name, by the way, his first name. And then it's So Tendo and Gemma Satome. But yeah. So Ranma has to live up to all these promises and things like that as being a man, and I feel like that kind of led to him not being able to really express himself emotionally to Akane, as well as to the other girls like Ukyo, Shampoo. Because he has like 1,000 fiancés. I'm just kidding. He has like 4 in the series. Akane, Shampoo, Ukyo, and then Kodachi, who is the sister of their classmate. She goes to another school. I'm not sure why she has to go to another school, but she does. And so he has 4 fiancés, and then when he's in his girl form, like, all the men chase him too. It's really sad for poor Ranma. He's got all these people, but he doesn't know how to express himself very well, I think just because of how he grew up. So he can't tell these people, it's like, look, I'm not in love with you. I don't have these feelings for you. Like, he does kind of like Kuno, the classmate that's Kodachi's brother. He is in love with the female version of Ranma and Akane, and he doesn't want to take no for an answer, which is crazy. So, like, I feel like there was moments where, at least with Kuno, Ranma made it clear that he wanted nothing to do with him. Same with Akane. But I think that is part of Ranma's problem. The same with, like, Akane was a bit more willing to express herself emotionally compared to Ranma, so you do see, like... What? Need somebody home? Sorry, my dog got up. Can you see her? Maybe not. There she is. She's sitting on the couch. Anyways, but yeah. So I would have liked to have seen more development, though, with Ranma like that and Akane, just because you knew that they were going to be the couple to be together. Because I felt like that was pretty obvious. Because I never thought Shampoo or Ukyo really stood a chance. If I had to pick somebody else for Ranma, I would have gone with Ukyo over Shampoo. Because I felt Shampoo could be a little bit manipulative at times. And I think Ukyo also having the, established relationship before with Ranma when they were really small children, I think that would help. So, also she seems to have that same, like, personality like Akane does. Like, I think Ranma definitely has a type. Like, he likes the girls that are a bit of a tomboy versus the very, very feminine girls like Shampoo. Like, Shampoo is very feminine. And I'm not knocking Ukyo or Akane, saying that they couldn't be feminine. And they were feminine at certain points throughout the series. But they're definitely more of the tomboy than Shampoo is. Like, I do think it's, like, so for poor Akane, who wants to run the dojo that her father owns. But in order to do that, she has to marry Ranma. And I thought that was unfair, that he felt like his daughters couldn't take over his business. And it's interesting to see that play out in something that came out in the 80s. You think something like that would be, like, really ancient into the past, but clearly it was still a thing going on in Japan at the time, I'm wondering. I'm not sure. Or if she just felt like the dads would be like that anyway, and so she made it that way for the series. To make it maybe very, dramatic and a little bit, just a little bit. Because then you have Akane trying to deal with the fact that her father wants her to marry, she doesn't want to marry, that whole thing. That would cause a lot of drama. She sat down. She was sitting right there. Here. Anyways, that's, like, that's the only thing I would change about this show. Other than that, I thought it was great. Lots of laughs. Oh no, I just thought of something. Happosai, who is the two dads' master, So and Gemma's master, like, he taught them martial arts. He likes to steal underwear and bras, and oh my gosh, poor Ranma and Akane, like, he would, like, nuzzle their boobs all the time. He would purposely splash cold water on Ranma to turn him into a girl because he just wanted to see, like, her naked or in lingerie or, like, inappropriately touch her. I'm all for, like, the Master Roshi type of character, right? The perverted character, that's fine. But I felt how Jose was, like, completely next level. Like, I don't know about you, but, like, I think, like, Moroku and Inuyasha is really tame now compared to Happosai. And Ataru, like, those are... It's interesting to see, like, Happosai was kind of more of a secondary character compared to those guys. But I kept waiting for him to just go away. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think he was as funny as Moroku is in Inuyasha. And at least Moroku does get serious and serve a point to the story. And he does develop. He changes, as far as I remember. Like, he ends up marrying Sango, and having kids with him. I think, like, that perverted, womanizing ways went away from Moroku. Whereas Happosai, it's still there. It's, like, never gonna go away. They can't get rid of this guy, which I found odd. It's like, what did he do to live so long? Same with Shampoo's grandma. I thought that was weird that Shampoo's grandma was in love with him at one point. I'm like, girl, no. Like, you could do better, for sure. Definitely not happy was this, what she called him. But I'm just like, oh, Happosai had to go. I mean, I could, like, Master Roshi in Dragon Ball at least, was tame. Like, you just gave him some dirty magazines. He could be happy. He did go after women on occasion, of course, but it wasn't all the excuse me. As I'm rewatching both Inuyasha and Dragon Ball to see these characters, like Master Roshi, I really could buckle down and get serious, excuse me. And that was always interesting to watch because, like, right now, as I'm watching Dragon Ball, they're fighting King Piccolo or Piccolo Daimo. Gosh, I think I'm saying it wrong in Japanese, but in English, he's called King Piccolo. And it's interesting, like, during that entire storyline, Master Roshi, like, that perverted side of Master Roshi kind of went away for a little bit. Like, when he needs to buckle down and get serious, he can, and he will. So, Happosai didn't really do that. And also, he was just quite the opposite of Master Roshi, I felt like, from Dragon Ball. And that was obviously the point. She wasn't trying to make him a copy of Master Roshi. But I was like, Teen Titans, go away. Like, you beat up your poor students all the time. Like, they're afraid of you, and they hate your guts, pretty much, I feel like. Or at least that's what I felt, like the dads just wanted him gone, like, out of their lives. And he does sort of ruin their lives, too, because he's stealing all the underwear and bras and living with them, so all the women in the city are just like, what are you doing? And those poor women having to constantly buy bras and underwear now. God. I would hate that. I would personally hate that. Because, like, no offense, but for any of the guys out there, but, like, I'm sure a lot of the women out there was just like, bra shopping's hard. Like, it's hard to find a really good bra that fits right, that, has the, it's comfortable to wear, at least for most of the day. Obviously, when you get home, you do what you want. But still, like, it would be annoying because they're expensive too. At least nowadays. I don't know about you. I mean, it costs what? I've seen bras go up to what, $20 or more, depending on where you're shopping. If you're shopping at, like, Victoria's Secret, then yeah, you're spending a lot of money on some bras and underwear. If you're going to Target, then you might get a better bargain, or like Walmart, wherever, whatever you prefer. But still, like, those poor women having to buy bras and underwear all the time, that would be annoying, and I would be really pissed off too. I would be chasing him too. I'd be like, what are you doing? Give me back my stuff. Like, I would be the same. Yeah, I just wanted that guy to go. So those are the two things from Ranma I would personally change. I think it's a great series, though. Hilarious. You're going to be laughing a lot. There's not a lot of very dramatic moments in the series, just to throw that out there. I like the fight scenes a lot. I thought they were fun. They're more comedic fight scenes, so if you're like a fan of like Jackie Chan, style of martial arts where it's kind of comedic, then Ranma would actually be a good one for you. If you're not like a Dragon Ball Z person where it's really serious a lot. Although I feel like Dragon Ball was kind of comedic in moments with their martial arts, but Ranma's more so. And then I really like it. I thought it was great. It's a great series. I don't know if it's outdated or not. Maybe in certain aspects, like Happosai, you could be considered an outdated caricature. My hand fell asleep holding up the phone. Oh no. But yeah, I guess like some of Ranma's personality could be considered outdated, but it was important, I felt like, for the character that he had those things. Like, he wanted to be like that whole manly man thing, and that he was so desperate to be like uber masculine. Like, because I think if you kept that, like, in the beginning of the series, for example, let's say they redid Ranma, but they, like, updated it a little bit for a more modern day audience, like, they could keep that for Ranma, but as the series progresses, he changes as a person, then that would work. But I felt like he did that in the series anyways, because towards the end, he wasn't, as worried about being seen as a man. Like, everybody knew that he could change into a woman when he splashed with cold water and change back into a man when he's splashed with hot water. So, like, all his classmates knew, and that they still were friends with him. So I felt like he did change throughout the series. That's just me. Maybe for some people he didn't. I don't know. But I guess, like, those aspects of the series could be considered outdated. The whole thing with the dads, like, wanting their kids to get married, that definitely is for sure outdated. Although that's one of the big plot points, right? So how would you update that? How would you get Gima and Ranma to stay with the Tendos in their dojo / home? And how would you start the relationship between Ranma and Akane? Because that's kind of how it started. Like, because they were forced to be engaged, like, they had to learn to like each other, and then eventually, like, romantic feelings did start to get there. Because I feel like if, Tendo's just like, hey, you want to, like, stay with me or something, I don't know if that would have worked out as well. Because I feel like Ranma and Akane would never have, like, started a relationship had they not been, like, forced to. You know what I mean? Get along and everything, like, forced to by their fathers. Because I do think that's a big aspect of their relationship with the dad. The dad's involvement. So. But anyways, I do like Ranma and Akane, by the way. I'm not dissing them. I actually like them as a couple. I think they work better than all the other ones in the series. For poor Akane, though, like, man, having to be chased by all those boys at school and kicking their butts. Man, what a girl. You're a trooper, Akane. That's all I can say. But, yeah. Anyways, I highly recommend this series if you haven't watched anything else Rumiko Takahashi has done. And you've only ever watched Inuyasha, which I feel like that's the one most people have watched, is Inuyasha. It's a great series, too. But check out Ranma 1/2 if you haven't. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's not going to be like I said, as serious as Inuyasha or anything like that. And it for sure won't be as, like, violent. Like I said, like, the martial arts more comedic. You're not going to see any, like, do you see blood? Maybe someone gets a nosebleed. Other than that, like, it's not going to be, like, people, like, stabbing into somebody like it is in Inuyasha. Inuyasha's definitely a bit more violent. If that's your thing, that's cool. I don't mind. I like Inuyasha too. I also really like Dragon Ball, as I'm wearing I'm sporting my Dragon Ball shirt. This is Goku from Super. But yeah, I love it. I highly recommend it. I give Ranma maybe a B+. B+ overall as a series. It is long, and they break it up into 7 seasons on Hulu. And we do here, when you buy the DVDs, they're also, like, in 7 seasons, plus the OVA / movies. How many episodes were there overall? Over 100, I think. So it's a long series, so you have to invest into it. But it's worth it, I promise. Watch Ranma 1/2. You won't be disappointed. I swear. Okay? And so the next video review will be more anime. Sorry about all the anime, guys. I will do more Once Upon a Time and Disney and all that fun stuff after I finish a lot of the anime I'm watching. Trying to get them all done just in case they get taken off Hulu, because it's the easiest way for me to access it right now. Particularly if I end up not liking it, I don't want to buy a bunch of DVDs, So Hulu's the best way for me to do it. But Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super reviews coming. 3 different videos. Classic 90s anime Sailor Moon review, and I'm actually going to split Inuyasha into 2 parts because I feel like it, because it's a longer series, and I will probably do Yashahime once I finish that. That's it for the video, guys. I'll see you next time. Check out Ranma 1/2. It's really good. Bye.